This week we certainly got a lot of improvements. So hello and welcome to yet another patch notes video. Let's go through the entire patch notes and see what we got for this week. I'm going to tell you right away, we got a lot of changes, so the video might turn out to be somewhat longer than usual. With that being said, let's start as always from the top of the page and work our way down. Starting with the events for this week, the first one that we got is the Griffon's Helmet boost, which is going to last for 1 week and is basically a double drop rate increase for the Griffon Helmet drop. And this is tied to the new boss that we got, which actually drops this helmet. Then we have the Blackstone drop rate event, another one of these. This one is going to last, I believe, 2 weeks. So if there is right time to grind, now is that time, because you're going to get a lot of these. Then we have the loyal attendance rewards have been refreshed, so that's nice to see. And the last one, which is actually just a change in the Ellie's Mystical Lake Festival event. Basically, they made the splashy water balloon to respawn after 15 minutes instead of 1 hour, and it will be easier to pop this balloon. I know I myself didn't pop it even once because I didn't really get into the whole questing event, but if you want to do the event now, it should be a lot easier. Now for the content changes, this is where we have a lot of changes. So the first one, we got a new guild boss, Ahib Griffon. So if you want to get a Griffon helmet and you have a guild that does guild bosses, you have a new boss to grind in Kamasilve, which, as the name implies, can drop the Griffon helmet. I'm not going to go into detail about how you can summon it because you pretty much get the point. Guild leaders can summon this boss when they exchange 20 essences of fury and yada yada. Now we can move on. The next one, new character ability stats. The Renown stats have been added. If I didn't hear about this yesterday during the stream, I would be actually surprised about what this is and how it works, but now I know. Basically they added some extra effects or bonuses to make getting higher AP or higher gear score values actually worth it, or somewhat accomplishing. So the whole Renown Score system basically takes your main weapon AP and the awakening AP and then makes an average out of that, add up the DP and you have your gear score or the Renown Score. Based on this one, as you can see from the charts, first off you're going to get some titles if you're interested in that, but the most what we care about is the AP bonuses and the damage reduction bonuses. So most people, they have over 470 gear score, which means pretty much everyone is going to get a 20 AP bonus increase, and this is actually quite huge. If this counts as normal 20 AP, then I'm pretty sure it will make a difference. And then for the damage reduction, this is where it gets somewhat more interesting because you can go as high as, I believe, 647 gear score, and you can get over 165 damage reduction bonus, which means that now stacking DP or damage reduction to make a damage reduction build, basically for a tank, might be actually somewhat viable. I'm not sure, but it seems like it just seems like getting that higher gear score and going purely for DP might be worth it. For the rest of us, the casual players, 500 gear score, you're going to get plus 40 damage reduction, which is still quite a lot. Then we move on into the extra AP buff, which I'm not sure how this one works. It says that depending on your character's AP and DP, you will get an extra AP and damage reduction buff or buffs. This will be displayed with the Renown Score information. Basically what I'm confused about is that if we get an AP buff from the Renown Score, what is this extra AP buff that again scales with the Renown Score? Doesn't really make much sense, maybe I'm missing something. But the cap for this one seems to be 309 and above gear score, and you get 200 extra AP, which kind of makes no sense. So I'm pretty much sure I will make sense out of this in a few hours when I log into the game and ask some people, but if you know, leave a comment. I would be interested to know if this is a typo or if we actually get the 200 extra AP, which seems kind of broken. The DP, the extra damage reduction buff, again goes as high as 346, and this one is 20%, so this one is a scaling. Again, interesting buffs. It will be something I have to log into the game, ask some people and see how they work, but overall this should make a lot of changes into PvP and maybe make the higher grinding spots easier to grind, like Griffins or Manchoms, stuff that doesn't get one-shotted. Moving on, we have the gear purification has been added, so this one will make enhancing somewhat less stressful, because now you can actually pay 100,000 silver and downgrade a piece of gear from plus 15 to plus 14 without having to use a negative karma character and just get killed over and over by the guards. This one has 100% success rate, you pretty much get the point. Now you can enhance with somewhat less stress, I guess. Moving on, let's see what else we have. Players can now check all storages from multiple towns at a single storage keeper. This one is pretty self-explanatory. You can now go to, say, the Hide storage manager and you can see the storages from all of the cities, I suppose, but you cannot really take stuff out of them. You can only see the storage and use the transport system. Still, it's a pretty nice convenience change, I suppose. So let's move on. There are a lot of changes to talk about, so I don't want to stick to just one of them for very long. Unstable crevice content for Fairy Laila has been added. This one, I have no idea what it is. Unstable crevice will randomly spawn at maximum 100 in an interval of 6 hours in areas of Valencia, Valencia and Kamasilve. Not sure what at maximum 100 means, and I'm not even sure what is going to spawn, but I guess we are getting new content, or we got, for the Fairy Laila. Again, I will have to see what this is when I actually spend more time into the game, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. Moving on, we have Balenos hunting quests are available. Not gonna go through all of them. Basically, they added new quests for hunting. Characters of level 45 and above can complete the quest Daily Hunter's Honor and accept the new story quests from Chuck Lorre. Pretty much, if you are into hunting, you have some new quests that you can do, new daily quests that can be carried out with the boss subjugation scroll that are exchanged with the hunter's token have been added. So that's probably for the new bosses in Kamasilve, White Wolf boss and the King Brown Bear. Maybe these are actually new bosses altogether. Some new daily quests were added to the Balenos Islands. Balenos has islands. I'm assuming this is on the ocean, so you have some more dailies if you're interested in that. Most people are probably not. Monsters for hunting have been added to Balenos Islands. Again, if this means out in the ocean, not exactly sure how many people are going to be interested in this, but you have some more monsters to kill if you are one of those very few people who actually does hunting. Pretty much the least used or done life skill in the game. New items have been added along with the new story quest additions of the Balenos Island quests. You have the new item Bird Meat, new item Hunter's Token. Again, if you are into hunting, you will check those out. If not, let's move on to some other changes. Some new subjugation quest scrolls to carry out daily boss quests have been added. I think this is a repeat, they already mentioned this. New item King Brown Bear Lure Trap to lure King Brown Bear has been added, so that's that. New titles have been added for those bosses. While standing behind the wooden fences during node wars and siege wars, you will now take little to no damage from most attacks from the opposing side of the wall. So this is actually an interesting change if it actually works, because now you literally can use fences as some type of shield to protect you from the incoming damage. Maybe. I believe this was how they worked before, but if not, they do now. Then we have some fixes. The guild emblem, irrelevant, I guess. So let's see, system changes. They are pretty much all fixes. The option to kick out a guild member has been made more smoothly, I suppose. Now guild masters and officers can kick the same person without problems. The voice volume settings will not affect the fairy volume, and fix the FPS drop issue when passing by large cities or NPC crowded areas. This one is actually quite useful, because now maybe the FPS is not going to drop every single time I get close to a city. Besides that, from the game world NPC and effects changes, it's pretty much some fixes and irrelevant stuff. I don't want to talk about those. Mounts changes, again 3 types of fixes. So let's see, class changes. The first one, PvP damage inflicted among characters has been increased. So this one I already heard about it, and I'm not sure why they did this. Yesterday I would have said it was useless or not needed, but now after seeing the new changes with the extra AP and damage reduction that you get from the Renown Gear score, maybe these increases between 5 and 8% or so for each class might be actually needed. So I will have to see what this does in the game. You get the point. The crowd controlling effect during PvP has been adjusted. So this one I already read about it because I tried to go through the patch notes. Pretty much they improved how CC works in the game, I suppose. Previously, stun, stiffness, knockbacks were considered to be in a set, while bound, knockdown and floating were considered to be in another set, and then grapples were something else entirely. So they just adjusted those according to this chart. You can read it if you want, it's a lot to read. Basically, knockdowns, bounds, floatings, knockbacks, stuns and grapples can only be activated at a maximum 2 times, and after that you have 5 seconds of being invulnerable to those because they have a cooldown. This one might be somewhat of a nerf maybe to the 4 grapple spam that berserkers have, but still to the grab itself, let's say, most classes have only 1 grab or 0, so it's not like that's going to be that much of a difference. Where it might make a difference is, actually no, it will probably make no difference at all. As far as I know, in PvP or 1v1, people just CC you once, then they follow with a grab, and then that's about it. And maybe a down smash. So the 2 times is probably enough. The stiffness effect can be continuously activated, so this one will probably be noticeable, for example, on the wizard Aqua Jail, which I believe it did stiffness over and over until the skill was over. The air smash and down smash effects have a 50% chance to activate, and they can be spammed. So these 2 don't have a cooldown. Basically, from what I understand, you can activate air smash and down smash multiple times. Now obviously, as they say, this is going to be further adjusted in the near future to balance it out, but at the moment, as they state here, the first crowd control, after the first crowd control ability, the target will have 0.3 seconds of resistance, so you can't use 2 CC abilities right one after the other. You have to wait that 1/3 of a second, at least that's what they say. And also, when lying down, stun, stiffness and knockback effects will not be applied, and this does not count towards crowd control count, so that cooldown thing. That's pretty much it. You can log into the game, obviously, do some PvP, test this out, see how it works, and hopefully it performs better than the previous method of PvPing, I guess. Yeah, that's about it. So let's see, in terms of the normal class changes, there's not that much to talk about. For warriors, there's some description change, rangers fixes, berserkers fixes, tamers got some buffs, so the PvE damage for the following skills has been improved, and this is the chart, so that's nice, I guess, some PvE damage bonus. The Heilang damage has been also slightly increased, and yeah, not that much else. Fixes, the skill description of something has been changed. Stamina consumption decreases, said before, now it actually says decreases by 50. Valkyries, this is another description change. Now the Elion's Blessing says that it's going to give you 999 DP and 100% resistance, and the same change was made to the PA effect. Now it's going to say that it gives you 999 DP instead of just saying dramatically increases DP. Not much else seems relevant, just some more fixes. Mystics, again the same description change. The Infinite Fortitude skill will give you grapple resistance increased by 30% and all DP increased by 999. So there's that. Item changes. The following monsters at Aakman Temple will now drop the Tungrad earring. So this one is definitely a buff to the Aakman Temple, and one of these days I should check it out, you know, get a party and see how this place performs. Because if they didn't drop the Tungrad earring before, it means that now they are getting a quite huge money per hour boost if you manage to get one of these earring drops. The drop rate of the Yona Fragments has been doubled. Now this one, I'm not sure if it was broken before. People were saying you can get maybe one Yona Fragment in about 2 hours. I pretty much didn't get them that often. I got one in maybe 4 hours. So now the drop rate is going to be doubled. Hopefully this is not going to make the Valencia spots broken and be way too profitable. The drop rate of the following accessories have nearly doubled. You know, I just said that hopefully that is not going to break Valencia. If that isn't, then this buff will, because every single accessory dropped in Valencia, the Forest Runaros ring and the Valtara Eclipse belt now have a double drop rate chance. I wonder why they made this change, because it's not like we had it's not like anyone was complaining that the drop rates were way too low. The Valencia spots are already profitable enough, so with this double drop rate they are going to be just that much more profitable. And actually maybe, and this is a maybe, they buffed these spots so that people with high gear scores can move out of the low level areas like Sosons or Media, Pirates and that stuff altogether. So maybe maybe that's why. Then we have Nouver sub-weapons have been improved so that damage reduction will be applied during the enhancement level. Depending on the enhancement level. This another change which I was expecting to see because of a streamer that I saw yesterday. Basically, Nouver is going to get extra damage reduction, probably to make it more viable as a PvP offhand, and Kutum is going to get a little bit of AP increase, as you can see from the chart, depending on the enhancement level, and on top of that some monster damage increases. Basically they are probably doing this to differentiate from the PvP offhand and the PvE offhand, because some people may have been using Kutum just simply to stack damage reduction for PvP. Now you can use Nouver to do that because it will give you some damage reduction, and only use Kutum for PvE because of the monster damage and I guess the small AP increase. Sub-weapons that cannot be claimed from world bosses have been improved. Please check the following, the chart. So we have standard accuracy offhand, Sayer ornamental knot, the attack one, Again, from what I know about this change, they are trying to make offhands universal so that every class is going to have the exact same offhand choices. So an accuracy one, an AP one, the evasion one, and so on. So you can see the charts if you want with all of the changes. Moving on, the effects of the Giant Helmet and Griffon's Helmet have been adjusted. Damage reduction bonus has become -3 and damage reduction has become +3, so DP has increased. See, this is one of the prime examples of not wording the patch notes properly. Why couldn't they just say, if that's what they meant, that Giant Helmet gets -3 damage reduction and Griffon Helmet gets +3 damage reduction? Maybe, I'm not sure. If it will be easier to just log into the game and see the changes on the helmets. Steel Dagger has been upgraded. From Pry to Pen, damage reduction will increase by 1. So Pen is going to have 5 damage reduction. So pretty much the same change as the Nouver one. Steel Dagger, which is an AP offhand, will get some damage reduction. Obviously not as much as Nouver, 5 instead of 7. Not exactly a lot, but still. You can now sell Ellie's small water balloon to vendors. That's an event change. Not sure why they didn't put this on the events tab. Pearl Shop, I'm going to skip it. I don't really care that much about that part. Monster changes. The monster zones in Valencia and Kamasilve have been adjusted. Another buff to Valencia and Kamasilve and a lot of text from the developers. Renown Score has been added and accordingly monsters AP in the following regions has been increased. So because of the Renown Score, monsters in Kamasilve, except Fadus and Polyforest, which are low level spots, and then Valencia have higher damage. I mean, monsters do higher damage, but let's be honest, PvE is pretty easy, so I'm pretty sure nobody is going to even notice this this AP buff. The terminology for the following combat areas has switched names from recommended AP to optimal AP. Areas where optimal AP is labeled are areas where you can enjoy the greatest efficiency in defeating monsters with optimal AP figures. In Kamasilve, it says only Fadus and Polyforest, which are the low level areas. In Media, everything, so there's that. Monsters in Valencia and Kamasilve are now twice as likely to drop the following items. Okay, this is a repeat, they already mentioned this, that the accessories have double drop rates. I heard that at some point the AP cap is going to get removed altogether, so talking about that optimal AP part, I'm pretty sure that doesn't mean the AP cap was removed, only that the description was changed from recommended AP to optimal AP, maybe. The number of junk items droppable from the following areas from the monsters has been increased. The first one is Aakman, so this is another buff to Aakman. The trash items, you are going to get more of them. Mirumok Ruins, which actually surprisingly needed a buff because nobody actually grinded anymore since the introduction of the Griffon Temple. So maybe Mirumok Ruins are viable again because of this. The attack patterns on some of the monsters at Aakman Temple have changed. The Aakman Flamen now has an attack range decreased by 25%, and the Elite Watcher now is a melee attacker instead of a range attacker. Again, not sure what this means, but it's definitely worth going to Aakman now and test it out, or go for yourself and see how the changes are, because the double drop rate of accessories and the increase in trash items and these pattern changes for the monsters may have made Aakman Temple a completely different spot. Well, not different, but you get the point, a lot of changes. Monsters at Mirumok Ruins will now drop the Valtara Eclipsed Belt at the double drop rate. Again, this was mentioned already, and they just copy pasted the entire part with the drop rates again. So I guess even the developers get tired at some point. Moving on, let's skip all of that. We have quests and knowledge changes. I don't want to make this a half-an-hour video, so let's skip all of these. The following escort quests can now be accepted properly if you care about all of these. After that, we have interface changes with some more, let's say, irrelevant or small changes that not many people notice. The Black Magic Crystal Assault was added to the Basilisk's Den escape menu, item drop rate information, and stuff like that. And I believe that's about it. There's resolved issues, which, again, issues, and we are finally done with the patch notes. If I were to make a recap out of what we got this week, we got the double drop rates of the accessories for Valencia, the double Yona Fragment drop rates again for Valencia, so quite a lot of buffs for Valencia lately, the AP increase for Valencia, let's see what else did I miss, the Renown Score, so there's that, with the AP and DP or damage reduction bonuses, the Giant Helmet and Griffon Helmet, a weird line of changes with -3 and +3, the Steel Dagger and Nouver and Kutum buffs, and actually all of the offhands got changed, so there's that, something to look forward to. The 999 description for PA, so there's that, better descriptions, now you actually know how much you're getting. The new boss, the new Griffon that you can summon as a guild boss, and of course the crowd control, the changes, and the whole PvP improvements, and also the 4 to 8% buffs on the damage for all classes. And besides that, we have the events again, so there are those. And besides that, also the gear purification, so if you want to downgrade your gear, there's that. And now I believe that's everything. From the events, of course, the double drop rate for Black Zones, or if it is double, it's just Black Zone drop rate event bonus. The Griffon Helmet, again, drop rate bonus, and I'm done. Okay, done. The patch notes are over. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful or informational. Maybe I saved you some time to go through the entire patch notes yourself. This week we definitely got a lot of changes, and this is finally one of those patch notes where it actually made the game somewhat more exciting, because now for once I want to log into the game and actually see these changes and play the game for a change. So I will see you guys next time, and until then, stay happy and bye bye.